17 years ago, the leader of the group tells the hero Elkin that he was fired. The guy was surprised by such a sudden decision. He asked why he was being kicked out of the band. The head was angry at him because the guy was pretending to be a fool. Then he said that Elkin does not even use ordinary dark magic, but still continues to call himself a dark magician. But he was useless in the group. Elkin understood why he was being thrown out of the group. The head still remembered the moment when the hero left the group on the battlefield, and he ran to the rear to the guards. The guy asked why he was being fired, because he has a weakening spell that everyone used before. A girl named Isabella, who was also in the group, said that the guy was really good in terms of magical support, but however they were already a high-level group. Because of this, the monsters that are now facing the group in battle are no longer influenced by Elkin's spell. The guy was called a burden. Old Josh couldn't protect the guy anymore because he had been doing it for quite a long time. After that, the head pushed Elkin out of the building. He could find a newcomer with more talent than Elkin. The guy was lying on the ground and thinking about talent. He couldn't apply it. Years ago, he bought a manual on the use of dark magic with borrowed money. The guy read it to the holes. He studied and practiced. After more than 10 years of practice, all he could use from attacking magic was a basic spell, which was sure to be in the arsenal of any freshman at the Magic Academy. The guy was walking down the street. He found a letter on the bulletin board with a search for a dark magician. He understood that for top-level tasks, one who only owns supportive magic is not needed. Elkin had been in the team for so long only because of Josh. He got into his position. Mostly groups were looking for people who have high combat skills, and in Elkin's case it was impossible. There was not a single chance that someone would take him into the team. The guy looked at the people around him. He thought to stop being an adventurer. He knew a lot of spells, but he couldn't use them. Suddenly, the guy heard children's screams, which attracted his attention very much. He was surprised to hear a child's voice in such an alley. He began to look for where the screams were coming from, and soon finds a place. He runs up to the trash can, removes the garbage that was above the children. Soon he saw two twins who were screaming. The guy didn't understand how the twins could end up in such a place. He didn't even want to think about it. Their parents were terrible for doing such an act. The girls began to scream even harder. The guy picked them up. He didn't know what to do. After that, he began to rock them so that they would stop screaming. It helped because they stopped crying. The hero began to like them. The guy didn't know what to do. There were a lot of places for teams around. But Elkin doubted that there was a shelter somewhere nearby. The guy realized that he needed to go to the district committee. The guy's clothes were dirty. It was his only clothes. The girls started laughing at the guy's reaction. They called him Dad. The guy was happy. They called someone like Elkin their father. The guy decided what he would do. He felt that this was his destiny. He wanted to help these children. He would become a better father. After a while, the guy told Dr. Demon the story of his meeting with the girls. Now Elkin's daughters are students of the Hafen Academy. The doctor remembered the guy when his daughters were still too young. Elkin used to be less talkative than he is now. After meeting with the little twins, the guy opened a library in a town called Lithuggle. Previously, the guy did not know how to raise children. Dr. Demond and his family helped Elkin a lot of times. Without the initial resources, the guy built a library to feed his family. It was difficult, but he was so busy that his daughters were brought up by the books they had. Once upon a time, the girls found the guy's old staff. He realized that the girls had found the staff in the pantry, and suddenly they began to cast a spell. The guy knew this spell. He was surprised by the knowledge of his daughters. Suddenly, a lot of fire began to stand out from the staff. A column of fire broke the roof. The surrounding people saw it. The guy was shocked that his daughter broke the roof with a spell. Corona asked Selena's sister for a staff because she wanted to try it too. The father began to scream. He asked who taught them such a spell to use dark magic insanely because it can be dangerous. The girls said they had read about the spell in a book. The guy was surprised by the girls' abilities because all he could light was a match. The guy was shocked that the girls were able to learn a spell on their own at that age. It turns out that they noticed that their father read the book every time before going to bed. They thought that if they could do what was written in it, then Elkin would be happy. The daughters began to feel sad and began to apologize. The guy realized that it was impossible to scold them. He patted the girls on the heads and began to feel sorry for them. He asked if the girls liked magic. They were happy. It was a lot of fun for them. Then my father suggested that we learn magic together from now on. He told the girls not to try to do something dangerous on their own. The girls promised that they would listen carefully to him before using magic. The guy thought it would be better if the girls liked light magic with its healing spells, but he did not change anything. After that, the girls began to improve quickly in magic. In practice, one of the daughters was able to summon a stone spear. When the guy had nothing left to teach the girls, he enrolled them in a famous magic institute called Hafniu. The girls wrote the entrance exam and passed with the highest scores and began to study magic more. The girls had been out of town for 2 years, and Demon asked if the girls would be coming soon. The hero said that in his opinion they would come for a short time. Apparently they wanted to tell him something serious. The doctor was surprised that the twins would come all this way to tell something. Demon started joking that the girls had found guys, which is why they would come here. But Elkin did not like this proposal because the girls were 17 years old. Elkin did not think that his daughters could have boyfriends because they were busy with magic. All their letters were only about magic. The doctor said that he was joking. He said that his daughters would never give in to the feeling of love for their family. However, sooner or later the girls would become someone's brides. The guy had to accept it. The guy couldn't accept it. He thought the joke had dragged on. Demon didn't stop talking about it. The hero became serious. His face changed. The doctor said that he only wanted to warn the hero because he was his doctor and the man whom the hero trusted. Demon apologized. The guy started saying that if they brought good guys, he would change his mind. But soon he began to shout that he would not give his daughters to anyone. This cry was heard by everyone around. The doctor asked when he would be able to see his daughters. The guy said that his daughters would arrive today or tomorrow, so they wrote in their letter. He suggested that his daughters might drive up while they were chatting. Suddenly, residents began to scream and run away from the street. In the window, the guy saw that some people were flying away altogether. The house started shaking, which caused objects to fly up. On the street, people were shouting that a mono pig was approaching them in the city. Everyone was shocked because they were sure that they did not go out during the day. The pig began to approach the city. It broke the magic shield. Elkin ran towards the monster. He wanted to check the situation. The doctor did not understand his friend's action because he was afraid for his life. From the very beginning, the guy felt the magic. He could not be mistaken in his guesses and rushed to meet the pig. The girls on the street were quarreling because it was because of them that the monster came. They decided to attack together because that way they could end the battle in an instant. But if they attack together, this place will burn to the ground. The guy was running with a staff to the girls. He was screaming. The daughters saw their father and began to rejoice. The guy realized that everything happened because of his daughters. The girls were glad to see their father, but they needed something. But Elkin asked to postpone the conversation for later. First you need to deal with the beast. He ordered the crown to put up the shield she had used earlier. She put up a barrier, but in her opinion it was useless because it would break. The guy began to cast a spell. The daughters noticed that this was their father's signature magic. The hero used acceleration. The barrier began to crack. The girls wanted to take the chance and strike, but the hero said that you can't do that. If they attack, then the entire buildings around will be destroyed. The girls did not know what they should do in such a situation. The guy ordered Selena to surround the monster with boulders after Corona removes her shield. Earth magic was Corona's specialty, but Selena could also create boulders around the perimeter. After that, the girls began to carry out the plan. The girls began to conjure together, which really worked. The guy said that the last touch remained before the victory. He will destroy the ground under the monster, and the daughters must attack from above. Together they began to cast spells. After the attack, the monster disappeared. The guys managed to defeat the monster. The beast turned into a small pig that was destroyed. The daughters were surprised by their father's skill. Everyone was wondering why the night monster appeared during the day, because people did not approach the monster's nests. Then the girls began to talk restlessly. Then they admitted that they climbed into the mono pig's nest because they wanted to get high-quality mushrooms, but the monster woke up. My father became angry at them, but they showed him a lot of mushrooms. The daughters wanted to give them to their father, but he did not want to take them. Suddenly, the girls showed the hero that they were now S-class sages. The guy was shocked when he found out about it. The daughters asked their father to join their team. The daughters were waiting for an answer from their father. He was carefully reading the documents. It turns out that he double-checked that his daughters are magicians of the highest rank. Elkin warned his daughters that they might be deceived by the teacher because the girls were still students. He couldn't believe that his daughters were S-rank magicians, even despite the seal from the school. The S-rank was given only to very talented magicians. It is given to those who know both light and dark magic perfectly. For this, magicians have been studying magic for hundreds of years, and the Harbin School of Magic remains by all means the best. The best school gave out such a class for the first time in 200 years, but there was one problem. The daughter interrupts the father's thoughts. She asks if the father believes them. Selena looked at her father with a serious look. Corona showed her father her certificate, which was already strange. My father thought that people in Harfin would suspect something. The hero must believe his daughters. He said he believed the girls. He congratulated Selena and Corona, and they began to rejoice. After a while, Elkin still couldn't believe it, but the girls showed irrefutable evidence, and soon Elkin realized that he did not need to pay attention to outside opinions. He saw that there was something wrong with the crown. It turns out that she wanted to get a lot of compliments because they gave their best 100%. They said that their father was a respected black magician who should be followed by example, which surprised him. Elkin was really amazed by his daughters. He said he needed to go out to the kitchen and see what was going on. When he came out, he met the doctor. He asked what spices his daughters liked the most. The guy was all in tears, which made Demon tense. The doctor thought the guy was worried about the past, but he said he was very happy. The hero wiped his eyes from tears. When he was kicked out of the team, all his dreams were destroyed. In a fit of anger, he could only wander senselessly around the world. But on the same day he met the twins, it was fate. It seemed to him that they liked magic, so he began to teach them. He wanted to be a good father. At this time his daughters were watching Follow My Father around the corner. But the guy began to blame himself for imposing his dream on the girls. He thought it would be better not to teach them magic, because then they would live their normal personal lives. Now the daughters have become strong magicians. The guy thought that his dream had come true, and not the dream of his daughters. The doctor tried to calm the hero down. The sisters ran out into the hallway. They couldn't just leave everything like that. They said that learning magic and the path to S rank was their decision and dream. One of them said that their father really set them on the path of magic, but the girls liked magic. Even before they started studying, they talked about it. Corona asked her father to create his own team, because they came here to tell about it. They wanted their father to try himself again as a dark magician. They wanted to conquer the world together. The guy began to imagine how he would travel with his daughters. He said there was no way he would join the team. He didn't understand how the girls represented a team of three, because it needed more people. But the whole situation was corrected by the fact that the girls were strong magicians. They could create both strong shields and attack powerfully. The girls began to argue about who was more useful. The guy said that registration takes place only among adults, and the daughters were still students. But they said that all restrictions have been lifted for S-rank magicians. They said they really messed up in yesterday's fight. Real combat is different from school exercises. They had to choose battle tactics, adapt to other conditions. That's why Elkin is needed in the team. He has a lot of experience in this area, even if he can't use attacking magic. The guy realized that the girls had found out that he couldn't use attacking magic. He didn't understand why they were inviting him to the team. The crown said they hadn't asked the main question yet. She asked if her father compared himself to other magicians. He thought it was too much for him. My daughter understood that Elkin had problems with attacking magic, but there was also weakening magic. She thought that people were famous only for attacking magic, but they forgot about good weakening magic. If the hero hadn't weakened the monster yesterday, they would have lost him. The daughter asked if the father compared his weakening magic with the magic of other magicians. The guy said that weakening magic is useful only in the initial stages. After it becomes useless, the hero could weaken the enemy by only 4 to -50%. The daughters were shocked. Selena said that there is not a single magician in the world who could weaken the monster so much, except for their father. The guy didn't believe his daughter. She said that she was not lying, because she was an S-rank magician, as well as a student of the Faculty of Magic Research. They said that few people use debilitating magic, so many believe that it is not needed. The guy remembered that he was the only dark magician in the team, but they thought that strength was better than weakening and kicked him out. Selena called her father a debuff specialist. They called their father a genius, which made him very surprised. He always thought he had no talent. He was happy, but he was confused. Corona said they needed to form a team with their father. They know how to make sure that Elkin can use attacking magic, but they will have to organize a team. My father was shocked by these words. The guy thought there was a catch in this sentence. Suddenly, Demon tells a friend that the hero should agree to the offer and try. It's never too late to start over, especially since a lot of time has passed. There are always changes in the world of magic, so says Demon. The daughters said that you should not measure your magical abilities only by absolute values, such as good or bad. Everyone can be good at something separate. The girls' teacher was very interested in their father when they told the teacher about him. Elkin was the very person the girls really needed. Advanced research at the Hafen Higher Academic Institution is confidential. It is forbidden to disclose details to anyone outside the academy, so Elkin needs to join the group, because then he will become involved in the academy. It was kind of a deal. Selena was glad that her father understood everything. They wanted the hero to volunteer as a live test subject for Hafen's research. In return, they would provide him with the skills he would acquire with them along the way. It was not a bad deal. The guy understood the whole situation. Now he was not worried, because everything fell into place. He agreed to the deal and joined a group of daughters. After a while, the guy changed clothes as the girls asked. He did not understand what the twins were trying to achieve. Elkin thought they were going to check. Suddenly, girls run out into the street, thanking them for waiting. It turns out they were greeting other people. The hero did not know about this. He could have gone with his daughters. They said that this case concerns only girls. It was already time for the guys to set off, but the hero did not yet know where they would go. Suddenly, the crown began to conjure and a huge circle appeared under them. The guy was very surprised by this, and his daughter continued to cast a spell. Soon she used the magic of flight, which surprised the hero. The surrounding people saw the guys rushing into the air. Demon knew better than to worry about them. He called Elkin strong enough. When he came to town with 2 babies, he looked like he would break if he was hit. Still, even so, he didn't even want to listen to the doctor's words that he should entrust the upbringing of the girls to someone else. He looked more like an unflappable rock than a man leading a normal lifestyle. Demon thought that a guy like Elkin needed an excuse to give up his dream. But whatever his motive, he worked hard and took care of his daughters to be a good father to them. The hero has already done what he wanted. It's time to let himself be influenced by people. If you give Elkin a long time to think, he will hide more things. You can't just talk to him. Demon knew Elkin better than anyone. He wished Elkin good luck in his mind, who at one time flew with his daughters to the bottom. In a few milliseconds, they land on the ground. They landed rather roughly. Selena began to blame her sister for such a situation. The guy hadn't had time to recover yet. He thought he was going to die on this flight. Flight magic was the scariest magic that existed. Selena noticed that her father felt sick after landing and apologized. Corona hugged the hero, who invited his second daughter to join him. The guys were at the eastern end of the foothills of the mountains. They landed a little bit in the wrong place. Corona continued to fool around. She said that next time she would use flight magic. The hero said it was time to explain some details. Selena wasn't going to listen to him. She said if anything could be explained so simply, she would do it right away. According to the crown, they decided to organize everything after they moved their father. The daughters also had their own reasons for the deal. Corona said that if they had stayed in town for a long time, something would probably have happened. But she did not say what exactly. After that, she offered to settle in and then talk about it. The south wind blew. Because of him, the dust dissipated. Soon, the girls showed Haven's father, who was right in front of him. The guy saw the magical city of Haven for the first time. There were strangers behind the wall who were watching the arrivals. The girls wanted to buy a limited edition of 10 Manny Angelatos from Hanyo, but it was already sold out. Their history of magic teacher is constantly buying them. Corona wanted to buy sweets because from that day discounts began. The guy was surprised that his daughter knew about this store. Before going to the academy, I had to eat. According to rumors, half of the residents are connected with the school. If you also include people who work there, then the number of residents not involved in the academy is almost 0. Corona and her father went to the shop. The daughter did not know what kind of sweets to buy for her, but still decided to buy mints. Then the saleswoman asked for a student ID. The girl introduced herself and showed the ticket of the sage from the Cratchit laboratory. The saleswoman was shocked. She double-checked the document. She asked who was standing next to the girl. The guy hid, because the whole crowd was looking at him askance. The daughters asked their father why he hid, and he explained. He realized that the twins were popular in this city, so he did not want to show himself close to his daughters in society. At least he thought he should have worn clothes that would have stood out less. Selena offered to go to the academy and buy new clothes for her father, because they had almost completed their rounds. The guy didn't expect to go out, so he didn't bring enough money with him. Selena looked into her wallet. Where there wasn't much money, she wanted to withdraw more money. The hero was confused. He did not want his daughter to pay for her father. Suddenly, the girl remembered that if she applied for payment for laboratory work, the academy would pay for it itself and she could use it. With their help, they get everything they need. Selena asked the guys to keep an eye on something until she gets back. The crown offered to continue the journey. Corona was not particularly interested in choosing clothes, which surprised her father. She loved sweets more than fashion. Soon the guys come to the clothing store. Corona began to feel embarrassed about something. The hero said that the store was pretty good because even magic robes were sold in it. The girl ran into the store. They need to buy good clothes for the hero's debut at the academy. They went into the store, where it was very beautiful, and they were greeted by a lady. She said that all the clothes in their store are sewn with great materials. They also offer services in full coordination with their specialists. For more information, you need to contact them. The guy really liked this place. My daughter said that this is because there are large branches of various guilds in Hafen. Corona said that the store was technically cooperating with the academy. It was a kind of commercial project. The hero noticed that the women's section is on the second floor. He suggested to his daughter that she choose something new for herself to buy. She was shy. She said she didn't need anything new, she could wear her current clothes. He said her clothes looked badly worn. Suddenly, strangers pop up, calling for the crown. It turns out that they were first-year students from the Faculty of Magic. Silva and Hilda, they wanted to, so that the girl could teach them the magic of flight. Corona was surprised by the girl's request. They went outside, where the students said that they wanted to lower the bird's nest, which is located on a cliff. For several days now, they have not seen the parents of the chicks arrive. Perhaps they have fallen victim to monsters. They are sorry to hear the screams that are getting weaker every day, but unfortunately their wind magic will not help in any way. In the classroom they learned that there is an advanced form of magic called flight, which is why they turned to the crown. They were very sorry to ask the legendary twin sages for this, but they had to. Elkin was shocked that his daughters had already become legendary. Corona agreed to show magic. She told the girls to watch her carefully and remember her. First, the crown created a magic circle. Later, I concentrated on my legs. The secret is to mix fire magic from above. When two magical forces collide, you need to jump. The girl lands near the nest of birds. She took their nest in her hands, now they were safe. After the girl came down to the ground, the student was shocked. The crown offered them a try. They were happy to learn how the magic of flight is used. They promised to try this magic. The crown took out a nest of birds. Now it was pointless to try to fly up. The girls could just ask to get the nest, and not teach them this magic. The girls said that there are actually a lot of nests, not just one. Then the crown understood why the students asked to teach them. My father decided to join the conversation. He wanted to tell me something. He asked if the girls could use gravity-based acceleration. They said they used it in class. Then the guy proposed his idea. He began to draw a circle on the ground. It is enough to accommodate one person. He began to cast a spell, and soon he was blown up into the air. The girls noticed that Elkin seemed to be levitating, not flying. Then he said that the inverted type of magic, for all its simplicity and convenience, is not very often used in magic, although it is often found in the structural formulas of magic. He believed that it was important to have a separate magic that could be used as an analog. This time he inverted the magic of waiting and vice versa made himself lighter, and by making a time limit, it would be easier for them to get off this magic. Soon the girls began to try and they began to succeed. The twin said that this guy was her father and also called his name. The students were shocked to see the twins' father. They were shocked to meet the man who raised the twins, as well as one of the best magicians in the field of support. There were also rumors that Elkin was very handsome. The guy was glad to experience such feelings. He realized that it used to be more difficult to get along with others at the academy. It was good for him, because there were such rumors about him. He said he wasn't that awesome, he'd be in town for a while, so if the girls need anything, they can turn to him. They were only glad and left. Soon the father turned his attention to his daughter, who frowned for some reason. She said her father was a womanizer. She started to leave. The guy did not expect this. Soon Selena appeared, who called the guys to her. She realized that she shouldn't have gone to the merchant guild at the end of the caravan, because there was a long queue. After the guys come to the clock tower, the girls greeted Cedric, who was inside. The hero was surprised by the scale of the tower. It was much larger than it seemed from the outside. Selena said that they were currently free because they had non-working hours. Corona said that their teacher should be at his workplace because he works. The girl went with her father to the mirror. The daughter touched him. She began to call the teacher Cratchit and told about her return. Suddenly, the mirror began to let the guys inside itself. The guys went into a secret room. The guy had never seen such a technique. He was surprised by the skill of his daughter's teacher. When they went inside the teacher's room, he was again covered with books. Teacher Cratchit wanted to talk to the guys, but he couldn't because of the clutter of books. After that, the guys helped their teacher. She thanked them. The father asked if this girl was their teacher because she looked young enough. Selena said that the teacher is 30 years old. Cratchit introduced herself. She was glad to meet you. The Haven Academy is quite large. It is packed from top to bottom with training classes, so there is everything from classrooms to laboratories. The teacher realized that the girls had brought their father, with whom the teacher wanted to talk. The hero introduced himself. He thanked the teacher for looking after his daughters, but Cratchit thanked her father for such a good upbringing of the students. Selena asked me to get down to business. Then the teacher asked if she knew correctly that the guy could not use attacking magic, but was good at supporting magic. The guy confirmed her words. He said that he had always been terrible at attacking magic, but at the same time his support magic was stronger than that of ordinary magicians. He learned this from his daughters. Then the teacher said that there can be compatibility between a magician and magic from birth. There are many studies on compatibility. Some say that it is inherent in genes, others claim that it is related to the body itself and the quality of magic, but no one has given an exact answer so far. However, recent research on this topic has yielded results which surprised the guy. The hero asked the reason for the compatibility, but she herself did not know the answer to this question. That's why she called the hero to her. She said that before joining the Academy of Selena and Corona, the Academy did not do much of these studies. Hafen researches magic at an advanced level. The evolution of magic for them is everything. Research aimed at granting rights to losers is usually considered secondary. In a world where magic is so widely used, research on the accessibility of magic to everyone was never considered until the two twins arrived. The guy respected the teacher for wanting to get to the truth, but he did not understand why she would conduct such an unclaimed study. She said she couldn't use most types of magic. The hero was surprised by this. He thought that if she couldn't use magic, then even he could be stronger than her. Then the girl began to show what she could do. She began to conjure. The guy turned back. He saw this when he first came here. It turns out that the girl possessed the universal truth, the power that controls the world and the blood of all beings. She can distort the space between voids. She is using a reality deception. The hero didn't understand anything, but the crown was very funny. After that, the teacher said that spatial magic is the only magic she can use. The guy thought that this was just fiction. He had seen records of such magic that had survived. But all these stories remain just myths. Today this magic is considered fiction. The guy realized that there were not ordinary people in the academy. The girl said that her magic was also being investigated because she consumes a lot of magic. She clapped her hands and was no longer on the top shelf of her library, but near the guys. Such magic was very difficult to use, so she uses this magic only as a library. The guy understood why the teacher was crushed earlier by books. After that, Cratchit wanted to get down to business, for which she invited the guys to her place. She called the guys because of the progress. The guy asked if the teacher could use attacking magic. She said that she could use it thanks to Selena and Corona. They managed to find a way out. But this method was just a trick, not the final solution. The father noticed that his daughters were fussing, but they said that everything was fine. They said that with this method, father would be able to use attacking magic, because they had carefully prepared. The words about the preparation strained Elkin. The teacher said that there are two ways to achieve the goal. She asked which way the hero wanted to find out, easy or difficult. He said he wanted to know about the easy way. Then the teacher decided to explain the way. She asked if the guy remembers about the compatibility study. It turns out that the teacher discovered a flow of magical power inside a person and called it a magic vein. This vein largely depends on nature. The guy was surprised by this information. It was a magical analog of the circulatory system. A magician can use the magical power that flows through these veins. If they interfere with the work of these vessels, they will be able to use magic that they could not before. The guy noticed that there was a huge difference in tension between the daughters and the teacher. The daughters asked the teacher to continue his story. She said that a stranger's magic rain is needed to accomplish the goal. If you borrow magic power, then he will be able to use attacking magic. The guy realized that he could borrow magic power from his daughters. The guy said that he caught the essence of the action. He asked what needed to be done. She said to draw a magic circle and exchange saliva. The hero was surprised by this. The guys went outside. After that, Elkin asked about the second method. The daughters asked why the father did not want to use the first option. He said that this method was quite strange. The daughters thought that their father did not love them, because he did not even want to kiss them. He would never do that to his beloved daughters. They began to laugh at their father, because that way they could force him to do this. He didn't understand what his daughters were driving at. He wouldn't do that to them. The teacher said that when they received the research results, they easily accepted this information. She thought that the guy was a father who had lost his sense of ethics and did not have a talent for support magic. The father realized that his daughters had caused a lot of trouble. The teacher suggested using another method, which in her opinion would be perfect for the hero. An adventure was required of the guy, which must be dangerous in order to awaken the ability to attack magic. He understood what his daughters were preparing for. Cratchit asked Elkin if he knew about the first sage. He knew about him. About 7,000 years ago, the first sage created magic for the first time in the history of mankind. Mana, which existed in nature, was transformed into a technique that gave rise to magic. There is also a theory about spirits, the theory that the first sage received his knowledge from 8 spirits. The guy had heard about it, but thought it was a fairy tale. The teacher, just like Elkin, thought that it was a fairy tale. But it turns out she was able to find the spirits. If the hero meets the spirits and they accept him, then, as in this fairy tale, he will be able to access magic that he did not possess before. He will have to travel again to become a sage. Later, the guy and his daughters were at the academy in the dining room. The crown said that the father's name was. He said he wanted bacon and Kana. It had been a hard day. The teacher said she would talk about it in more detail tomorrow. What the teacher tells is confidential. They can't just listen and leave, so she suggested thinking about it carefully. But if they refuse to tell the information, then they can leave this academy. The guy was sitting at the table. He couldn't believe that spirits could really exist. Suddenly, a stranger appeared who wanted to sit next to Elkin. The stranger introduced himself, and it was Karl Zetzais, the head of subjects at the academy. He asked if the hero was the father of the twins, because he wanted to talk to him. Everyone was chatting about their business. The hero noticed that Corona and the other students began to feel different when this teacher appeared. Karl wanted to leave the guys because of the large number of people who saw him. He pointed towards the auditorium. Next to it was a lecture hall. Inside there were 5 dormitories for students. The crown asked what Karl was up to. The father asked if his daughter knew anything. She said that Karl was a representative of the vice principal. He and teacher Cratchit were fighting like a cat with a dog. The guy realized that even the teachers were divided. Karl showed me the training ground. He said that as long as they were on the training ground, not a single student would look at them, so the teacher began to prepare for the fight. The girl wanted to warn her father about the fight. The teacher used the magic eye of the heavenly body, after which he summoned a flaming laser. The laser flew straight at the hero, but it was beaten off by Selena. The guy saw his daughter, who told her father to back off. Corona began to help her sister in battle. She summoned a water whip that flew at Karl. He understood the level of training of the girls, used his spell, which changed the direction. The whip hit Selena. The enemy rated such an attack at 75 points. He said that using non-harmful attack magic against his reflective defense magic was very naive, and the decision to go against specialized magic with short spells was also easy to read. The hero asked why the teacher was behaving like this. He called Elkin a fool because he scored 0 points. He did not think that the father of the great sages was so unreasonable, because his own daughters saved him. Now he understood what the rumored Mr. Harbalog represented. He believed that the students had overestimated their father in their stories. The girls frowned. They didn't like to hear pretentious conversations. Karl told Elkin that a great future awaits the sages, and he only hinders this. He advised me to think about the consequences of his pampering. After that, Karl apologized and left. In the evening, the girls took a bath. They discussed what had happened earlier. They asked their father not to worry because Karl behaves like that with everyone. According to his daughter, Karl was not the only one. All vice directors behave this way because of their position. The father asked if there was rivalry between the factions. The crown said that there was rivalry since they were attached to Teacher Ku's laboratory. Sometimes it felt like they were on the side of the director. Elkin realized that he could also get into one of the factions earlier, and also realized that conflicts could not be avoided, because the twins were the first S-rank sages in the last 200 years. He didn't understand why Karl was testing them with such a sudden attack. The girls said that the teacher was constantly bothering them. The hero thought about the fact that he scored 0 points. He thought that he was not recognized. The daughters said that Karl's family has been making a name for itself within the walls of the city for many centuries, which is why it is so famous. Now she is engaged in charity work and supports the academy, so the director lets them get away with everything. Elkin thought that Karl's behavior was more like hostility. He thought that teacher Cratchit was probably as careful as possible too, even if she changed the involvement of other team members. Selena did not understand why her father started talking about another team, because they agreed to be together. He said that Karl's words made sense. He did not want to stop his daughters from becoming stronger. She jumped out of the tub. She didn't understand why her father was acting like this. They went to this university over the years and were separated from Elkin. Research, various magic, and the need for a parent had been with the girls for several years. After that, she did not understand why her father began to consider himself a weakling, because someone else's opinion should not influence him so much. But the guy couldn't agree with what was wrong. Soon Corona came up. She said that she admired teacher Cratchit. That's why she attended his lessons. The one who discovered her was the director, but Karl, as an experienced practitioner of spatial magic, had his eye on her. She said that Dad definitely has talent. They want to do everything in their power to help her father. She is sure that her father has very useful abilities. Therefore, she wants to explore all their possibilities. There are children in Harfen who cannot start their studies yet due to innate problems with magic. All the knowledge that they will receive during this time will go to help these children. When the father heard this, he realized that the daughters had already thought everything out, so he suggested that they go to Cratchit's the next morning. The daughters were very happy that their father would not leave their team. Elkin noticed that the girls were quite wise for their age. After that, the teacher sent the children to Savage, or there will be an informant from the university. The rest of the details are set out in the document that she gave them. The guys began to leave the building, taking a suitcase. After they went outside, they were glad that their adventure had finally begun.